This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia with a tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sangeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. All right, Houston, Harris County, you have me again. A tip from me, talk, inspiration, and prayer with Gilbert Garcia. And it's great to be here. Thank you, studio audience. I think I got a small echo there, Mr. Producer. And if we could just close that door there on the back. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that, it's not every day you get to have a guest that's essentially an American hero. And so I had him on about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I thought to myself, I'm going to, fanboy him, because I wanted to bring him back. And that's our astronaut, really the head of the ISS space station, Mr. Terry Virts. And Mr. Virts, hopefully I'm saying it right, because Latinos, we have a hard time with that V. I just want to say thank you for coming back on the show.
Thanks for having me back. It's great to be here.
Well, first of all, I gotta just show this.
Yeah.
So, when you see I have an echo there, producer. When you see such a cool thing like this, you'll see these great patches. And well, of course, I don't know if you can zoom in. These patches are all to commemorate stuff, and it's really cool. And now this is the patch that we have here, where it says Terry Virts for Congress, Texas 9, and this is now a new patch that's going to be a collector's item when he wins for Congress. So I just wanted to show that to y'all because I think it's pretty cool. You have your own campaign patch.
It was pretty cool. One of my supporters has a company that makes patches and T-shirts and stuff, and he was like, hey, how about, and I said, that sounds like a good idea. So
it's a great idea. So let me come back to something, because we had you on the show, and I just felt that we didn't really do it justice, because I think we were just so excited about you as an astronaut, we forgot that you're a candidate for Congress.
Yep.
And so I wanted to just go deep into that, because first of all, how's it been? You've been on the campaign trail now. It's early voting. Did you vote? Aha! I see it. If you can, everyone can zoom in. You can see he voted. I'm going to be voting hopefully today or tomorrow. But how's it been now? How's it been on the campaign trail? Because you've really hit hot and heavy. It's early voting. There's a lot of activity. What's it like?
It's actually been awesome. We're definitely into a rhythm. We've got in the morning is fundraising, and then I'll do phone banking, where we call voters and talk to them and ask for their vote. And then in the afternoon, I go out and knock on doors. Now that we're in early voting, I sprinkle in going to different polling stations. There's a bunch across Harris County. So there's a daily rhythm. And then at night, sometimes there's events. There's a local club meeting or something like that. And then you wake up and do it again the next day. We're only 8 days, though, from the election. So
8 days?
It's a week from tomorrow. Yeah.
Are you like in that zone of, oh my God, it's 8 days? Or are you in the zone of it's 8 days? Because for you got a long way ahead, because you got all the way to November. Now,
yeah.
I don't want to jinx anything.
Right.
But, I think it's looking really great for the campaign. That's my read.
It's been, it's so cool when you knock on a door and they open the door and they recognize you and they go, hey, I just voted for you. That's
come on.
Yeah, I was block walking, I don't know what, yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. And the first 4 people that I knocked on, they all said, yay, hey, I just voted for you. So that was pretty cool.
Wow, it's super cool.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something because...
Very humbling.
Well, no doubt. It's exciting.
Yeah,
that's the juice of running.
It is.
I wanted to ask you, so what do you make of all this tariff noise? As we all know, the Supreme Court finally came down with a ruling.
Right.
And I would say it's kind of a 3/4 ruling where they said that the president does not have the authority to just unilaterally put on tariffs. And, of course, that makes perfect sense because, this president has been just exercising extraordinary power. And we got to start keeping that position, forget that he's him, but just that position in check. because
follow the Constitution.
You got to follow. Well, there you go. That's really what I'm
concept.
saying.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
follow the Constitution and having checks and balances. So what do you make of it? Because not only did he say, kind of like poker, well, I'll see you and then I'll raise you.
Yeah.
Now he said, I'm going to do 10% and then now I'm going to do 15 because I'm mad today.
Right. It's a toddler having a temper tantrum. You know, I have a 2-year-old grandbaby, and sometimes they just melt down. And this is what we're seeing from the White House every day. That is not healthy. He just posted a video today of him punching Canadian hockey players. Like, this is not, well, what he did with the Obamas was disgusting.
Oh,
I mean, this is 25th Amendment stuff, and yet it happens every day. So look, tariffs are taxes. A lot of studies have just come out. The average American family last year paid between $1,000 and $1,700, depending on who you believe, in extra taxes. This makes stuff more expensive at Walmart. It doesn't matter to Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. They don't care. But for the guys in my district making $25 an hour, makes a big difference. And so, first of all, they're taxes. Second of all, they're bad for business. I was talking to a meat company here in the district. Tariffs are really hurting them badly. A lot of construction businesses, a lot of small, especially Latino-owned small businesses doing construction, tariffs hurt them. Nails cost more. Drywall costs more. So tariffs are bad for small businesses. They're bad for families. They're not doing any of the things that he promised. Actually, we lost manufacturing jobs last year. So Trump's tariffs, and no company is going to make a big investment if it's going from 10 to 50 to 125 to 10. You're a businessman. You need stability.
How can you even plan? You can't even plan. You can't even budget.
You don't know what's happening next week, and everybody's walking on eggshells. And all these businessmen are going to the White House, prostrating themselves because they know he's so emotionally and mentally frail and narcissistic that's not how you do business.
That's right.
You do business arm's length. Hey, what makes sense for you? Let's get a deal done. Let's have some stability. That's how small businesses thrive. That's how big business thrives. And so the tariffs is just a disaster. These 15% things are going to be gone in 150 days. The law allows them to do it. But look, tariffs are like Twinkies. Like, a few of them are good, but too many are bad.
There you go.
And this is just insanity. And the whole world is looking at us like, WTF, America.
Yeah.
Like, this is not healthy for business.
Like, you can't count on this.
No.
You can't count. What's interesting about that is tariffs are like, we did a shirt. Tariffs are like Twinkies. One is okay, but too many is just not good for you. I have a picture that I thought is super, super great. Do we happen to have that Buzz Aldrin picture? Because we're going to send that picture. If we don't have it yet, we're going to get it. Because, it's interesting to have two legends. Because we're going to look back. You're a living legend.
Well,
and he's a living legend. And there's a picture of the two of y'all.
Yeah.
What was it like when you met him?
So I was an F-16 pilot in Germany, and
let's see if we can get that picture up there.
In the 22nd Fighter Squadron, and the intel lieutenant was going through the attic of our squadron, and he found these old boxes of pictures, these old black and white, like all the pilots in the squadron. Every year we'd take a picture. And in the 1950s, he was like, look at this. Ed White and Buzz Aldrin, these famous astronauts, had been in the squadron where I was 40 years before. And we had this, it's called a dining in or dining out coming up. And we had like some Army one-star general was going to be our speaker, boring. And I was like, well, let's see if we can get Buzz Aldrin. So I called the astronaut office. Of course, I wanted to be an astronaut, but I had never applied. I hadn't been there. I wasn't even a test pilot. But I just called the astronaut. I got his email. I emailed him. And he just happened to be going to Germany the same week we were doing this thing. He was doing a commercial for BMW. It was called Mehr als ein Schritt, mehr als ein Auto. More than a step, more than a car. It was a BMW ad. So anyway, so he's like, yeah, I'll come. So he showed up. He spoke at our squadron. You can imagine I was the hero of the squadron.
Oh, yeah.
And we flew with him. Oh, there's me and Buzz.
Yeah, put the one where he's there next to the plane.
Yeah,
there you go.
Right there, yeah.
Look at that.
So we flew with him in an F-16.
Wow.
This is so cool, yeah. And Buzz, we're still friends this day. He's getting up there, but he's still, he is an active person. He's still thinking about how do we get to Mars. He's constantly coming up with these new orbits and architectures.
And what Apollo mission was he? Do you recall?
11.
11.
Yeah. The first one to land on the moon.
Wow.
Yep.
Come on. So let's see. Can we get it up there, producer? We're getting it up there. We're getting it up there.
We're putting it up there.
And what year was this picture?
1998. It was right before I went to test pilot school, so I was on my way. And at the time, my wife was pregnant, but no one knew about it. It was secret. But Buzz was the first person we told about our baby, and he signed a picture of himself. He said, "Welcome to our world, baby Virts," and we still have that picture.
That is incredible.
So my son, his first, other than mom and dad, was Buzz Aldrin, who knew about him.
Wow.
Yeah. Even before his grandparents knew.
Oh my God! Do we have that picture? No, the one with Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, that one right there.
That's right there. Is that online? Yes. Okay, so everybody see it. So look at it. He just has that posture.
He looks like a fighter pilot.
He does.
Astronaut, yeah.
I mean, that's like the real deal.
And this is the 22nd Fighter Squadron, and he was the D Flight commander, and I was the D Flight commander in the 22nd Fighter Squadron. It was crazy. The parallels.
That's and then he's an astronaut famous.
Yeah.
And now you're an astronaut.
I'm a
famous.
lot less famous. But,
Well,
yeah.
but with time, it all becomes part of royalty.
Yeah.
The astronauts, it really does.
It's pretty cool.
So let's come back. I think that's a killer picture. I'm going to put that out on my Facebook when we do the show, and we always put out, this happened at the show. I want to go back to a couple of things because as it relates to the district, how are people feeling? Because my own anecdotal, here's Gilbert Garcia, and this is what I feel. I was at the airport. I have a little bit of an echo there, producer, right? I was at the airport, and I'm not kidding. It was just one of my colleagues and I, and we went to one of the burger places. Mm-hmm. And of course, you can't even get a human being. There's a kiosk.
Right.
So you're trying to do this kiosk.
Right.
And I'm trying to get a special order because, I don't want mustard. And
Yeah.
but I'm trying to figure it all out. So then I had to get the lady to come from behind the counter to come show me how to do it. And then at the end of the day, it was wrong anyway.
Right.
But what was interesting, are you ready for this? 2 burgers, 2 fries, 2 drinks, $50. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, $50. And then my wife and I, Dee Dee, if you're listening to me, I love you, honey. My wife and I went to this breakfast place, and I got 2 eggs, a side of bacon, and home fries, lemonade, and she got like toast. The whole thing, $35. How can people afford to just go out to eat anymore, or just people not? What are you hearing on the ground level?
Well, even eating at home. So I was at this meat planet in my district, amazing place. They're having to eat these tariffs, and now that we're terrorizing brown people, a lot of the workers are gone, and so then you have to pay more for labor. This whole policy between this inhumane immigration policy, tariffs, is really bad for working people. I just went to HEB yesterday. I live by myself. It was $200, so the costs of things are just too much.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's a real issue. So how do people feel in the district? They are mad. They're especially mad about ICE. We are literally terrorizing human beings. I might have told you this last time. I was block walking recently. Talked to an elderly Hispanic lady who told me, "Terry, I don't leave my house unless I have to." She's American, but she doesn't leave her house. I was talking to a guy yesterday, a business owner. He has a roofing company, successful guy, lives in a great house. His workers don't want to show up because they're going to get,
deported.
Yeah, I was doing Loteria this weekend.
How fun! How fun!
It was awesome.
That's bingo for a while.
It's like
Mexican bingo.
Mexican bingo. I suck at it, by the way. You don't want me on your Loteria team. Yeah. But, they're like, there's black SUVs driving around the neighborhood. Everybody's afraid. We're terrorized in America. And first of all, most importantly, it's a humanitarian disaster, but it's really bad for business. There's a Porous Bakery is in Denver Harbor, just downtown, great place, great Carnegie soda burritos and cookies. There's a big help wanted sign because they can't find help.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it's true across the district. There's a lot of anger. I don't know if you've seen the voting numbers, but the opening day of voting, the first day of early voting, we had almost 3 times the number of Democrats in Harris County vote as the last midterm.
No kidding.
Almost 3 times. And then the next day there was even more. So there's a lot of data coming out across Texas. There's a lot of Democrats voting. They're mad.
They've had enough.
Even Republicans are what Trump's approval is like in the 30s right now. So there's a lot of mad people.
You can't go any lower for an approval. You really can't.
It is. He could drop a bomb on America and he would never go below where it is. He's almost at his lowest. Yeah.
Well, hold that thought. We have a Larry Rubin on the line. Is there Larry? Are you there? Larry. Did I lose Larry? Larry, you there, my friend? Well, if you're on the radio, call back there, Larry. Or maybe here, I see another caller coming already. Let's see if that's Larry. Let's just give 1 second there, Terry.
We're ready.
Yeah. Well, as we're waiting for that call, so what do you think? How has the district turnout been? I mean, are you checking it every day to see what's going on?
I have a couple folks on my staff that do that. It's been high. Like I said, this district is highly motivated. Plus, it's a district that was gerrymandered. This is one of the 5 seats that they're trying to steal, and I'm going to make them pay. But so that just motivates people even more. The Houston Chronicle today, they had a whole big one-page article about my fellow astronaut, Jose Hernandez, and I were block walking last week. It was a really cool article. But they did another one where they endorsed me, and they said, look, if Democrats want to save District 9, and it's a district that went 60-40 for Trump had it existed 2 years ago. If they want to save District 9, they need to nominate Terry Virts, and I agree.
Well, you know what? I think that's right, because at the end of the day, actually, here comes Larry.
Let's talk to Larry. Let's see what Larry has to say.
Larry, are you there? Larry.
Gilbert, good morning.
Larry, how you doing? You got me, Gilbert Garcia, with, of course, Terry Virts. What do you got for us today, my friend?
Well, thank you, Gilbert, Terry. Well, I'm actually here at an early voting site, working hard. As you know, I'm in the race for U.S. Representative in District 38, and things are looking good. It's great to be here talking to neighbors.
What polling location are you at?
So I'm at Durgan Hall.
Okay, and let me ask you this: what's been is it a steady stream? Is it it's touch and go? What's it like? How are you seeing people in the crowds?
Sure. So it's been very interesting. It's been a steady crowd. The weekend was a little bit slower, but during the week it's been very steady. And in this particular election site, there's more Republicans than Democrats. But we are seeing folks coming out to vote. As you know, midterms are always more difficult to get folks motivated to come and vote.
Well, let me ask you this: I know you're running for the district that's it was Wesley Hunt's district, right?
Exactly.
You know what? He's been surprising, don't you think? He's really coming on pretty strong.
It's interesting. It's really a 3-man race, right? It's between Senator Cornyn, Ken Paxton, and himself. And we will see what the numbers throw. I would think it would go to a runoff, but we'll wait and see for the next few days. And election day is almost here, right? In a week about.
1 week. Well, let me tell you this. Let me let you give a quick what's a shout out on your website and everything else. Then I'm going to get back to my guest.
Sure thing. My website is Larry Rubin for Congress, and I'm a Hispanic, first time, not a career politician, but more of a business leader and community leader. So excited to be on your show and running for the people of District 38.
Larry, thank you so much for calling, and call in at any time, my friend.
I appreciate it, Gilbert. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.
You too, my friend. What's interesting, Terry, it just dawned on me when you have someone at the airport. When you have someone like Larry, someone like you, sometimes having a member of Congress that's been there for a long time, sometimes that's good. Yeah. But sometimes change is just needed. Sometimes a whole nother perspective. Like, I know he's a very successful business owner, and he's very pro-trade, et cetera. And here you are, an astronaut, which means you're essentially a scientist, and you know all about aerodynamics. I mean, that's a good thing to have people from all these knowledge bases instead of the same old.
Yeah, it seems like.
Am I right? I mean, what do you think?
Absolutely. For years, it was everybody in Congress was a lawyer. And so we don't need any more lawyers. We need some lawyers because you're writing laws, and you have to understand that. But it's important to have doctors. I'll be the only astronaut in the House. Business owners, especially military veterans. For years, we didn't have almost anybody in the Congress who had served in the military. Now there's a lot more. I think that's what the founding fathers intended. They intended for you to go there, serve, represent the district, and then go back to your district. And like I say, the only way I'm going to die in Congress is if I get run over by a bus. I'm not going there for the rest of my life. I support term limits, and I think that's something we need. We don't need to turn it all over every 2 years because you do need some experience. But yes, we need more turnover.
There's a funny, I love these political cartoons. Those little one cells, and there was a picture of the Congress, the rotunda and everything, and there were two people talking, and one of them said, "What is that? Is that an old folks' home?" And then the other person said, "No, that's the U.S. Senate." And I just thought to myself, when you see things like Mitch McConnell, he's got to be, I don't know how old he's, but it's not necessarily an ageism situation.
Yeah.
But I think in his mid-80s. But, he just looks like sometimes he just cannot speak, almost like he's having a stroke while being interviewed.
When Joe Biden was president, we had Dianne Feinstein there. She was, I think, roughly 90 or older. She couldn't come to the hearings, and Democrats couldn't get judges appointed. Literally couldn't do the job. So I think we should have term limits, and I think we should have an age limit of 80. Just an airline pilot. I'm a pilot. A lot of my friends went on to fly for United and American. I didn't. I probably should have, but here I am. But you can't be an airline pilot past age 65.
Is that right?
And it's a lot. Your responsibility as a congressman is a lot more than Airline pilot's very important, but yeah. So sometimes.
So there's an automatic 65.
65, you're done.
Wow.
You can fly your own private plane, but you can't be a airline pilot.
And be in charge of 300 people's lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just one flight all day long.
Yeah.
Very interesting. We have another caller already. Was there a Natalia? Natalia, are you there? Natalia.
Yes, I'm here.
You have me, Gilbert Garcia, tip for me with Mr. Terry Virts, who is, of course, an astronaut and, of course, more importantly, a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the 9th Congressional District. What do you got for us? Or for Terry?
Hi, yes, Astronaut Virts. I was wondering, what do you think the biggest problem people are facing in District 9 is, and how do you plan on fixing it, or what's your approach for it?
There you go. What are the key issues?
Sure. Well, I think the humanitarian disaster of ICE is the thing that's at the top of everybody's mind. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm either going to sponsor the legislation or support it to get the masks off and get the name tags on and focus on criminals. And by the way, everybody agrees we don't want criminals in the community. That all Democrats agree with that. Get them refocused on that, and shut down these gulags. Nobody knows this. 40 people died in detention last year. 40,
wow.
But there weren't people with cell phones recording it. It just came out a few months ago. ICE shot and killed another person. So we know about the 2 in Minneapolis. There was a third one, but again, there weren't videos of it. All this stuff is coming out. I'm going to investigate Kristi Noem very strongly.
And she's, of course, the head of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
Yes.
She has a $320 billion budget. If that were as a military, it would be the second largest military on earth, behind the U.S. military only.
Is that right?
Yeah. $320 billion.
People don't realize
that's a huge
the staggering sums of money.
We didn't want to spend $5 billion for Medicaid. 1.4 million Texans are losing Medicaid. Health insurance is going up dramatically, and yet we're spending this huge amount of money. There are facilities, we're spending billions of dollars in Texas to build these monstrosities where kids are kept for months. They're eating worm-infested food. It's like when you look at World War II and there was the Japanese internment, this was a shameful time in our history, and there's memorials to it. There's going to be memorials to this time in our history for this shameful time. And I would much rather talk about healthcare and housing and education. Those are things that really matter. But it's hard to focus on those when masked men are yanking people off the street and people are living in fear. So
you got to think they can't be feeling very good about it. They're doing their jobs. They work for, whether it's ICE or whatever, Border Patrol.
Right.
But yet they are humans, and these are Americans, and and more importantly, they're human beings, and it can't feel good.
Well, Gilbert, ICE has been around forever, and you know what? God bless the ones who have gone out and arrested gang members. And I mean, there's some bad guys in America.
Right.
So, and they risk their lives to do that. So I appreciate them for doing that. But what's happening now? They just hired this huge number of people. They didn't give them the training. You know, they're running around in jeans and ball caps with masks on. This is not what ICE should be. We need to repeal and replace ICE. ICE will never again be trusted in America. The name ICE.
That's right.
It just needs to be moved into a different
Yeah,
organization.
you almost got to rebrand the whole
It
thing
needs
now.
to be completely reorganized. ICE has been destroyed by the Trump administration and Kristi Noem. So we need to, like they always want to repeal and replace Obamacare. What we need to repeal and replace is ICE.
Amen. Let me ask Natalia, you have a follow-up or anything else? Maybe we lost Natalia.
No, I
Go
don't.
ahead. You have a follow-up or anything else?
Mr. Virts explained that very well. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Natalia.
Thank you for calling in, and call in anytime. Do we have another caller there? Let's see, who is that? Jordan. Jordan, is there a Jordan there? Jordan, did I lose you? We probably lost you. If you're listening, please call again. Just like AI, press 1, press 2, and as you go through it all, you're like, wait a minute, what was number 1? And you go back, and then all of a sudden you get cut off anyway.
I just pushed 0.
That's right. Representatives. So representative. That's coming back. So let me ask you this. So what happens? So you're going to have the election. You have election night, hopefully revelry, etc. And then what's the game plan now? And again, I'm not trying to jinx you or anything.
Yeah.
What's the game plan for the runoff?
Yeah, so March 3rd is the primary.
Yep.
So we'll know March 3rd evening. Hopefully I just win outright. If there's a runoff, then there's a runoff. That'll be May 26th.
Let's go through that real quick. How many candidates are in the Democratic process?
There's
here?
6 Democrats. Yeah, so it's a lot of times there's a runoff when there's 6.
That's
but
right.
Not all the time.
You would think mathematically it would be
Yeah.
hard to win outright.
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah.
Just the odds.
Yeah.
And then that would require a runoff then, what day?
May 26th.
May 26th.
Yeah.
And when is early voting on that? Do you recall?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Well, that's okay. We'll
Yeah.
fact check it real
Well,
quick.
yeah.
And so then let's assume that we're past it all. Then when is the election in November?
November 3rd.
Do you recall when early voting is there?
It'll be
Like 2
middle of
weeks?
October,
Okay.
yeah.
And then so people can still register to vote. This is a question, not a statement.
Right.
People can still register to vote for November.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. It's too late for the primary,
Right.
but you absolutely. And if you haven't registered, please do so. This is an important election. This is like the most important election since the Civil War.
I mean, people often say it's the most important election, but
Yeah.
you know what? I
It-
think this is true.
This is.
I
This
think it-
absolutely is.
I think it really is. Let's hold that
Yeah.
thought. Jordan, are you there?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Got me, Gilbert Garcia, with a tip from me. What do you got for our candidate for Congressional District CD9?
Yes, I had a question for Terry. I was just wondering, how did you go from being an astronaut and being into space and having, I guess, a passion for that into now having a passion for politics?
That's a great question. I mean, I still have a passion for space. I'm following very closely the Artemis mission and what's going on in the space station. But I also love my country a lot. I spent over 30 years in the Air Force swearing an oath to support and defend the Constitution. So it's really important to me. I love foreign affairs. I love business. I'm actually a guest lecturer at Harvard Business School. So I love these things. And if this was 2012, Mitt Romney against Obama, I would not be doing this. Like, that was kind of
Very
a normal
interesting.
time.
Yep.
But it's not. These are not normal times.
Right.
And the things happening. Let me give you a quick analogy. So the Space Shuttle Challenger went up. It exploded. Also, Columbia was an accident. I was there as an astronaut when Columbia happened. And NASA was doing this thing called the normalization of deviance. So before the accident happened, there were warning signs. And NASA just said, well, those warning signs, they're okay. They're not really that bad.
Warning, by the way, of mechanical warnings?
Yeah. So in Challenger, there was hot gas leaking out of the booster rocket. And they ignored it. They said, well, that's okay. It's not killing anybody. So they normalized that deviance, right? In Columbia, there was foam falling off the tank, hitting the shuttle. And they said, well, it doesn't kill anybody, so it must be okay. So for years, it was okay until it wasn't, until they had the accident. So NASA normalized deviance, which is bad. That's what's happening today. It's not normal for the President of the United States to just ignore the Constitution. It's not normal for, Kristi Noem and Pete Hegseth and Kash Patel and all these other cast of characters to say and behave the way they're behaving. So we're normalizing deviance, and we can't. Donald Trump just demanded all of our data from Greg Abbott, and Greg Abbott, of course, prostrated himself and gave him the data. So this stuff is not normal. We need to make sure it's.
Let's talk about not normal. And I know we have more people calling. Let's hang on there, Jess. And Jordan, did you have a follow-up on anything?
No, I thought that was awesome.
Well, thank you for calling in, and call in anytime. I want to go back.
Jordan.
And just hang on there. Don't leave us. On sort of normalizing deviance. I haven't heard that term before, so that's a great term. I, of course, am in the money management business, and I grew up in the era of Paul Volcker, and he was the Federal Reserve Chairman. And of course, for all my listeners, remember, monetary policy is set by the Federal Reserve, which has become independent really since the Depression. And there's a member that's the Fed chairman, and then of course there are the presidents of the local banks, Federal Reserve banks, and then you have a couple of FOMC, which is the Federal Open Market Committee members, and they're the ones who set monetary policy. So they set short-term interest rates. And I'll never forget, when I got in the business, Paul Volcker was a big, scary, New York banker.
Yeah.
And he used to have a big cigar. And he always had it. And he would go before Congress, and what's called the Humphrey Hawkins testimony, the Fed chairman has to go before the Congress, I believe it's twice a year, and answer questions. And all the members of Congress are there, and of course their staff writes their questions because they're afraid to ask questions of someone like Paul Volcker.
Right.
And they would ask him questions, and sometimes he'd say, "That's the dumbest question I've ever heard." I mean, he had no problem saying that.
Right.
And so people were afraid of him, like, "Oh my God, I don't want to say anything silly."
Right.
And there was enormous respect for him.
Right.
Fast forward, and then now you have Donald Trump, and he calls our Fed chairman a loser, a crook, and now there's an investigation on him. And mind you, our Fed chairman, who is Jerome Powell, Trump appointed him.
Yeah.
And just like if you look at the Supreme Court on this recent ruling, he appointed some of those justices that he's now saying these terrible things about. And so it's just interesting how we now are normalizing deviance.
It's what's happening. I love monetary policy, by the way. We talk M1, M2, macroeconomics.
I mean, that's the whole thing.
But
keep going.
The Pam Bondi interview. That should not happen. If anybody saw that, it was about a week ago, maybe.
Yep.
Just the three hallmarks of this administration are incompetence, immaturity, and malice, and that was on display. Like the Attorney General of the United States should not be so immature and just lie blatantly, like she was saying, "Oh, this wasn't in the Epstein files," and then Ted Lieu, the senator from Alaska, is like, "Actually, here it was in the Epstein file." I mean, she blatantly lied before Congress. Wouldn't answer questions. That's not normal behavior. That's deviant behavior. So we can't just accept that as normal. And we need to hold them accountable.
Well, I wonder what's going to happen, because my own view, of course, is the House is going to change leadership. And, of course, it's only like, I think it's a 4-vote difference, if I'm not mistaken.
It's very close.
It's very close. I think it's 218, 214, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder if this is going to be a rush to now hearings and all these sorts of things of the behavior of these people. At the end of the day, holding them accountable is important.
Yeah.
It really is.
Look, think back in World War II. Like Germany and Japan were defeated. They were held accountable. We got rid of the mess. The Soviet Union wasn't defeated. And that rot, the Soviet Union was horrific. I mean, they killed more people than Hitler did. Stalin was just absolutely horrific. And all the crimes they committed in Lithuania, in Estonia, in Bulgaria, they're just now coming out, right, for decades because they weren't held accountable. So you got to hold people accountable. If you got weeds in your yard, you got to pull them out.
You got to pull them out.
If you leave them there, they're just going to grow and take over.
So, and then soon the whole yard will be full of
and
weeds.
Look, Gilbert, this isn't about tax policy. We're not arguing about 28 or 25% tax. We're not arguing about EPA standards and stuff. All that stuff's really important. The EPA's been destroyed. But we're arguing about, do we follow the Constitution?
Godly.
Iran, by the way, nobody's talking about this. We have a freaking huge armada masked.
Give us some.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. I want to
Yeah.
come to Iran. I want you, because you know scale.
Yeah.
The issue about people like me and others, we don't know scale. When you think about, you have you got the armada of destroyers and 2 aircraft carriers. I mean, these aircraft carriers are humongous.
Yeah.
I want to go through that because the scale of it. But first, we have another caller. Was it Jess there? Jess, are you there?
Yes, sir, Mr. Gilbert.
Jess, what do you got for me or Terry Virts?
Oh, well, I want to thank Mr. Terry Bird, first of all, for running. And I know he is an overly qualified candidate, and thank you for running. But I have 2 questions. Can you tell us what the area of the district covers? I know it covers Liberty County, Baytown, part of Houston, and Clear Lake, but can you get more areas that the area covers?
I should have asked that at the beginning. What are some of the neighborhoods in there, and just generally give us some geography?
So it kind of starts downtown, just east of the Astros Stadium, Denver Harbor, East End, and basically go south to Ellington Field. So kind of it kind of goes left and right of 45, but basically follow 45, South Houston, Pasadena, Ellington Field, and then go east. So all those refineries and chemical plants, if you're driving over 610 or driving over the Beltway on the east side of Houston, all of that industry is in my district. And then the ship channel, which is it's the most important ship channel in America, over $200 billion in commerce. So the ship channel, all the refineries and chemical plants, Pasadena, Deer Park, LaPorte, Baytown, that area. And then up all of Liberty County. So farming, ranching, that's beautiful. So we have all the industry, and we also have this beautiful farm country.
Very interesting.
Liberty County. Yeah, it's a great district. Very working class. A lot of. I think it's the most important congressional district in America. The energy that we produce and the chemicals that we produce, and also the agriculture. But we basically make not only the American economy, the global economy really depends on the new congressional District 9.
Wow. Jess, what do you got for us? Anything?
Yes, another question. The district is 58% Hispanic. What qualifies you to represent the Hispanic community?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and this is at the top of my mind because this is a majority Latino district, and I take that seriously, very seriously. It's also, there's a significant African American population, there's a significant Anglo population, there's a small Asian population. So I'm there to represent everybody, and I'm not Latino, I'm an Anglo, I get that. But I have the soul and the heart and empathy that I'm going to listen. The issues that Latinos are facing are going to be at the top of my agenda. We're going to have a bilingual in-district offices to make sure that everybody's taken care of. And here's my ask. I just ask that people judge me on the content of my character and not on the color of my skin. And I'm going to be the best representative for this district, for everybody in the district.
Amen to that. And amen. What's interesting to me is when you think about Latino issues and African American, at the end of the day, these are just really human rights issues, which is I can't afford to eat. I cannot afford to live, in the city anymore. I can't afford gasoline anymore. I cannot. I'm worried about my job. I mean, that transcends all groups.
It does, and the human rights issues. So demonizing the Hispanic population is horrific. Kids are gonna be learning about this 100 years ago. What a terrible time this was. But also the LGBT community. Anytime you have dehumanizing language, it's bad. We were talking about my assignment to Germany. When I was based in Germany, I visited Dachau. I've been to Auschwitz. I've been to Nuremberg. I have a photography exhibit. There's a guy doing about my space photography in Nuremberg right now. When you dehumanize people and it's not checked, it ends up in those places, and this is horrific. And if anybody thinks that those gulags that Kristi Noem is building are for them, I mean, they're for them until they're not for them anymore, and they're for you, right?
That's right.
You need to stop it before it goes any farther.
Wow. Jess, we really appreciate you calling in, my friend, and please call in anytime.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Jess.
We have Bishop James Dixon. Bishop, are you on the line? Bishop Dixon.
I am here.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Brother Gilbert. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm so glad you called in. Of course, I happen to have Mr. Terry Virts, who is, of course, the former head of the space station. He's running for congressional district CD9 as a Democratic nominee. But really, I was hoping you'd call in. I'm so glad you did, because I know that you had a real celebration of the life of Jesse Jackson. And I'd like you to talk about it, and hopefully you can hear this, because before you do that, I want to play a clip that's of Jesse Jackson, and we have two clips. I'm going to do one. The first one is going to be the one at the Democratic National Convention. Do we have that? Okay. And back in 1984. Can we play that real quick? And I was there. Are you ready for this, Bishop? Gosh. I was there because I was a delegate from the state of Connecticut to the Democratic National Convention in 1984, and I remember it like it was yesterday, and I remember this speech. Let's play this real quick.
This is not a perfect party. We're not the perfect people, yet we are called to a perfect mission. Our mission to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to house the homeless, to teach the illiterate, to provide jobs for the jobless, and to choose the human race over the nuclear race.
My goodness. You can stop it right there, producer. I hope you heard that, Bishop, because, you know, I get chills hearing that, because he's right. How was it that night? And I so appreciate you inviting me to speak, but I just unfortunately couldn't make it. But I would have loved to have been there, and I want to say what I was going to say. But, you know, what do you think about that when you hear those words, what the Democratic Party is not a perfect party, but this is what we're about?
Let me say, first of all, thank you for having me on, Gilbert. Always a joy to join you on your show. And let me tell you, the prophetic punctuality is the way I like to say it. I listened to the 84 and the 88 speeches earlier today. The prophetic punctuality of Jesse Jackson in that speech in 1984 was just impeccable. He described the nation's crisis, and yet he gave hope for solution. And his vision for bringing all Americans together, of course, he's speaking to the Democratic Party, but he's speaking to the soul and the consciousness of the nation in such a way that whether you're black, white, or brown, or Democrat or Republican, you have to know the spirit of what he said was truth. And I tell you, that's the call to moral clarity that the nation is in dire need of today.
Well, I will tell you, amen to that. I will tell you, Bishop, that you know, I know a different side of him probably than most, because people know him, of course, as a civil rights icon and a wonderful preacher, etc. But I know him as a savvy person who really went after the inequalities of Wall Street. And producer, if you can, one of y'all get those two pictures of Jesse and me in the front. There's one of me and one of Ruby Dang. I'm going to just get them real quick, because we knew him quite well. And we would support him on the Wall Street project that he, of course, that he led. And we've been supporting him for probably, 15 or 20 years. And he was a genius. He understood power. And he understood the math. He understood the closed system of Wall Street, and he always talked about creating more opportunities. This is young Gilbert Garcia here with him, and it says Gilbert. I can't read his handwriting there, but you can see he signed it. And awesome. It was so great. And this is him.
He's tall.
And this is him. Also, this is me, and this is with my two partners. This one's much more recent. I'm sorry, this one here this one is much more recent. And we knew him, and we saw him at the airport maybe 2 years ago. And of course, he was kind of in a wheelchair, etc. And we saw him. Of course, he recognized us, and especially recognized my partner Ruby Dang. And what have y'all been doing? And this and that. But you know what, Bishop? I tell you what. He had an amazing impact, because if you go back in time in 1984, I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, he was the one that really blazed the pathway for people like David Dinkins, the mayor of New York City, the governor of Virginia,
Barack
Carol,
And Barack Obama.
Barack Obama, Carol Moseley Brown, the U.S. Senator from Illinois, had he not existed back in '84 in that leadership role to talk about creating, opportunity, etc., I'm not so sure those others would have been in the places they then came to be. What do you say there, Bishop?
Let me say ditto, and I say amen to that, because Jesse Jackson was a trailblazer, right? Before him, Shirley Chisholm back in the 70s. But listen, Jesse Jackson was a trailblazer. He was the first truly legitimate presidential candidate, and he blazed a trail. He knocked down barriers, but he also caused the Democratic Party to reconfigure how they count as delegates.
Yes.
And that really paved the way for a future Barack Obama. To your earlier point, most people underestimate or just not aware of the comprehensive brilliance of Reverend Jesse Jackson. He was as savvy on Wall Street as he was on Martin Luther King Boulevard. He was as competent in a corporate conversation talking about corporatism and corporate monopolies as he was talking about the issue of drugs and crime at the street level. And people don't understand, he understood foreign policy. He was as savvy and as competent and articulate talking about issues in the Middle East, South Africa apartheid, Iraq, Iran. He rescued hostages, American hostages from other countries, and he was not a U.S. official, which meant that other countries respected this man's intellect, brilliance, and his moral consciousness to the point that they allowed him in. That's what people miss in Reverend Jesse Jackson. There's not been another figure like him in American history.
Yeah, I can now read it. Says here, are you ready for the Gilbert Garcia? Keep hope alive.
Oh my God!
Keep
yes.
hope alive. I mean, I'm going to cherish this forever. I have another clip, but before we do it, I know that Terry had a quick question. Go ahead.
Bishop, the things you said were amazing. I remember as a kid, I didn't know anything, and then I saw Jesse Jackson running, and I thought a black man could be president. It was like a revelation to me, and I remember that just as a kid. But I think it's hard to rank the disasters that have been happening recently. I think the destruction of the Voting Rights Act is right up there at the top. What a accomplishment in 1965, and now here it's basically been my district should not exist. One of my goals is to end my district because it has been gerrymandered, right? So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And real quick, I'll say, last night I was block walking an African American neighborhood. The African American community knows what's going on. They are informed. They're only 10% of my district, but they were 28% of the vote. Like they are very engaged, and I wish all Americans were as engaged as them. I just want to get your thoughts on what's happened to the Voting Rights Act.
Well, thank you for that question. The Voting Rights Act has been gutted, and it's barely hanging on now. It's on life support. But remember this, that the John Lewis Voting Rights Act is still yet to be passed. And even before it was named the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, it became named that after his death. But when the Voting Rights Act was passed, it has to be renewed every 5 years. Think about that. Something as sacred, as fundamental to American democracy as the voting rights, the act has to be passed again every 5 years. That is absolutely anti-democratic, right?
I mean,
how is it that
I can't wait to vote for the John Lewis.
Bishop, that's unheard of. First of all, I bet you know what. I'd like to think I'm informed. I did not know that. That's crazy.
It's absolutely ludicrous. And so when you think about this, this is how determined the colonial elites are to limit voting rights. And of course, in Texas is the leading voter suppression state in the nation. We have not had this conversation as fully as we should. And as you know, Gilbert, I spent a lot of personal time as a mentee to Jesse Jackson. I mean, I got to tell you, people ask me what was it like knowing him. Jesse Jackson gave me national legitimacy as a civil rights social justice voice. in the nation. Without him, I would not be there. I got to be honest about that. So let me give him this. Thank you, Justice Jackson, for that. But he taught me a lot. And sitting at his feet, in rooms, in conversations, one-on-one, he talked a lot about these constitutional rights that will constantly be under attack, which is why that is my mission today. We've got to restore moral clarity to the constitutionality of what America is to be made of. We have taken steps back 50 to 60 years without recognizing it, and there's not enough conversation and concentration and agitation and activation regarding something as sacred as voting rights. And our governor, as you know, is attacking voting rights, and now this MAGA administration is talking about federalizing elections and removing people from the rolls.
Yep.
There's so much that we've got to talk about, but we've got to be about it as well.
Amen.
Amen for that. I'm going to play this one more clip, and then we'll let you go there, Bishop. Thank you for calling in. This is a clip of Jesse Jackson speaking on Sesame Street to these young kids, and the kids are of all colors, sizes. You know, let's see if we can get that clip there, producer.
Ready on the stump? Okay.
Let's turn it up a little bit louder.
I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be young, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be small, but I am somebody. I may make a mistake, but I am somebody. My clothes are different. My face is different. My hair is different. But I am somebody. I am black, brown, white. I speak a different language, but I must be respected, protected, never rejected. I am God's child. I am somebody. Give yourself a big hand.
Wow. I mean,
That's awesome.
that's amazing. And you know what? Well, I mean, I'm speechless. I mean, it's just incredible. Bishop, I'm sure when you see that, you probably, it's warming your heart, because I know how close you were to the Reverend. And you know what? He's going to be living in all of our hearts, and we're going to be talking about him for the rest of time.
You know my favorite Jesse Jackson clip?
Tell us.
Green eggs and ham. On Saturday night.
Yeah.
Listeners, Google, take a minute out of your day to Google Jesse Jackson. He did the reading of Green Eggs and Ham, and it's one of the
Oh my God.
comedy gold. It's awesome. He was on Saturday Night Live.
We're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead,
well,
Bishop.
I'll tell you, if I can share mine,
Please.
and by the way, and the Wednesday night was amazing, by the way. It was so diverse, and the representation looked like Jesse Jackson's vision of what America should look like and sound like. But I am somebody.
Yeah.
I may be black, but I'm
powerful.
somebody. I may be poor, but I'm somebody. I may be brown, Latino, but I'm somebody. I think the somebodyness of every American is what we're missing, because when you look at these massive, illegal, immoral deportations, that we are absolutely ignoring the sacred somebodyness of human beings. And that's, Gilbert, that's, I think, to continue Jesse Jackson's mission, we have got to elevate and dignify the sacred somebodyness of every human being. And that means the homeless. That means those who are trapped in cycles of poverty. That means, you know, we got to promote education so that we can eliminate and reduce incarceration. We've got to understand the sacred somebodyness of every human being. That's what drove Jesse Jackson. Remember, this is a guy who witnessed firsthand the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He heard the gunshot. He's on the balcony. The blood is on his clothes. And yet he moved beyond being traumatized to being mobilized. He did not let that fear make him afraid, did not let that stop him. It pushed him into service at a whole nother level. So rest in peace. Rest in peace, Jesse Jackson. He fought a great battle, but now it's ours to take up that mantle and make sure that we're messengers of the same love and hope for all human beings, because no matter where you are, your sacred somebodyness deserves the best opportunity to be all God purposed you to be.
Bishop, I so thank
Amen.
you for taking time out of your day to celebrate Reverend Jesse Jackson, a true American hero, on our show. Thank you for calling in, my friend.
Thank you. Gilbert, pray for me. I'm in the airport in Atlanta, headed to Virginia. I'm a keynote speaker for Jesse Jackson Honors Program tonight in Lynchburg, Virginia. And I'm just humbled to be able to open my mouth on your show. It's always a blessing. And thank you, Brother Bush. I appreciate all of you. God bless.
Avoid the snow.
Thank you. Thank you. That's Bishop Dixon. What a great human being he is. What a good man. I mean, God, he's just one of those guys that's just you just feel that love of humanity every time you see him and talk to him, and it's just unbelievable.
Jesse Jackson on SNL, Green Eggs and Ham. It'll make your day. It'll make your day.
I want to come back to something because you said something very important, which is the whole Iran.
Yeah.
And, only you can really, because, you've been there. Give us the colossal feeling of what are we about to do there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's, and, it's got to be enormous risk to these pilots and the ships and enormous cost to be there. I mean, just, what is this all about? It's not just fun. It's not like playing, what's that, My Battleship. Remember that game, Battleship? This is real stuff.
It is. And so, first of all, Iran is a massive country. It's bigger than Texas. It's bigger than Alaska. When I was flying in Iraq, Iraq was like this little country and Iran was this huge country. It is a big deal. Have we not learned lessons? You can't just overthrow governments and expect everything to be great without a huge amount of effort. And America doesn't want to put, nor should we put that effort into regime change in Iran. It's a huge effort. Congress has the power of war. This administration, the president should have a speech before the country. This is what we're about to do. This is why we're doing it. This is our strategy. This is our vision. This is how it fits in. There's been none of that. He's posting AI videos of him punching Canadian hockey players when we're about to go to war with Iran. Several carrier battle groups are there, dozens and dozens of Air Force combat aircraft and tankers and AWACS. This is going to cost billions of dollars. I just saw the Maduro law enforcement operation cost $3 billion.
Wow.
We're not willing to spend $5 billion on Medicaid, but we spent $3 billion to keep the whole same government in charge in Venezuela just to get one guy. So, Gilbert, this is just a disaster waiting to happen. And look, I have no love lost for Iran. The mullahs are horrific. They can't have a nuclear program. I get that. But we're not going about it in a smart way. We should be building a coalition like George H.W. Bush did with the first Iraq War. Mm-hmm. George W. Bush did, and this should be an international coalition thing if we're going to do it. But there's been none of that. And these pilots are going to be in danger. And by the way, if you get shot down over Iran, it's not like there's Blackhawks ready to go pick you up. Like when I was flying over Iraq, Saddam was still in charge. So if we got shot down, you may not be coming back.
Right.
And so this is a really serious thing. No one's talking about it. And this needs to be, I think, well, there's a lot of things that need to be front and center, but this is a big deal.
Wow. Well, you know what? Remember Carol Burnett?
I do remember. I was a little kid, but yeah.
Well, it goes to show you, I'm a lot older than you.
She was funny.
Yeah, and it had that song, I'm so glad we had this time together.
Yeah.
And then it's time to say so long. It's already been an hour.
Oh, my God.
Can you believe it's already been an hour? And I think we had 2 callers already waiting. I so apologize we didn't get to you. I know I just so apologize to you, Pearl. I know that you were waiting. I think there was somebody else. And I know all these people sending all these wonderful things. I saw Judy Faustin. All these people say all these great things. Judy Castillo, go vote. Of course, I loved Laredo Taqueria because they have the best carne guisada probably in all of Texas. I see Jacqueline Griffin, Jacqueline, we're going to have you back on the show. I want to give you, Mr. Virts, the last word. That's the TV. Those are the cameras. I want to tell everybody why they should be voting for you and sending you to Congress.
Well, the Houston Chronicle just endorsed me, which was a real honor. They said if Democrats want to save this seat, CD9, they need to nominate Terry Virts, and I agree with them. I'm going to fight for all the people of this diverse district. and I'm going to win in November, and I'm going to make him pay for trying to steal this seat. So please, Terry Virts, I'm at the top of the ballot if you're in District 9. I would appreciate your support, and I look forward to representing all the people of Congressional District 9.
There you go. Give me real quick. What's your website, everything else?
TerryVirts.com, TerryV like victory, IRTS.com. You can go there. You can donate. We need, like, texting and Facebook ads cost money, so that's super important. You can volunteer doing phone banking and block walking. We got a week left, so all that stuff is on TerryVirts.com. So thank you so much, Gilbert.
There you go. Houston, Harris County. This is Gilbert Garcia saying, we'll see you next time. All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. We're going to now be on television. We will air every Saturday on Comcast 17, AT&T Channel 99, Phonoscope Channel 96, Suddenlink 99, and also hmstv.org. Every new episode every Saturday at 7 p.m. And follow me on social media. See you then.